Hello everyone, welcome today to this class to paint some beautiful Valentine's Day cards. I'm really excited that you're all here today. Just sharing a little bit, today is the first time that I'm actually doing a stream live to make a class. So this is quite new to me. So if there are any technical bumps here and there, bear with me. But in the meantime, I would love to know where are you from, and if you want to share anything on the chat, please go ahead and do it. I'm gonna be trying to multitask and check as much as I can during the class, but if you have any questions, just throw them in the chat, and I'm gonna be checking it every now and then. So welcome. We're gonna start and jump right into it. If there's no any questions. All right, so as usual, when I'm doing any type of class, I go through the elements that we're going to be using. So before we start with that, I would just like to check if everyone can hear me well, and then I don't have to go and repeat too much later on, but just let me know. Well, I'm hoping that you can hear. So first, these are the type of cards that we're gonna be painting today. So this is a technique called negative painting in watercolors. Usually with watercolors, when we start with the light color, and then we work the layers up to darker colors, and this is exactly what we're gonna be doing today, but it's gonna be a different type of painting. So first of all, the items that we need, it looks like a full table here, but mainly we need watercolor paper. The one that I have here is 300 grams. If you have cotton, 100% cotton paper is even better, because it's gonna be a lot of water going into the paper. And I have here an A4 size, which with this one I can make either a big card, or you can do two small cards depending on what you like. This is an A5, so for example, if you wanted to do a card with this one, you can also fold it like this, but more on that to come soon. So the other things that we're gonna be needing, it's cutting knife, the DIY cutting knives. Please be careful when using them. We don't want any cut fingers. We have obviously watercolors. I have prepped some already here of the ones that I'm gonna be using. You can use any type of watercolor that you have available. So in this case, these are the pan ones, but you can use the tubes, liquid watercolor, whatever you have and you feel comfortable painting with. We need a palette to mix the colors. I have here a variety of different brushes, but to be honest, you only need one or two round brushes. I just like to have some brushes. Sometimes I like to switch from one brush to the other whenever I am painting. And then we're gonna be needing a pencil. Like this one is an H, but whatever you have on hand will work. Maybe an eraser, but not necessarily. The other thing that we're gonna be using, there's a massive washi tape. So usually they come in a little roll, but in this case, the washi tape is like painter's or masking tape, if you've heard of them before. And over here I have a couple of options for waterproof pencil, no, not pencils, pens, sorry. This one's like the pigment liners that they have different sizes. And this other one that I have here is more to do calligraphy, but either way is one or the other. And these are also optional depending if you want to write something on top of your card, but again, not mandatory. And then we have a couple of containers with water. One is gonna be for the dirty water, the other one is gonna be for the clean water. And I have here also metallic ruler, because this is the one that I usually use for any type of cutting, and a cutting mat. If you don't have this particular ones, you can just get a normal ruler or some piece of wood or something else that you can cut on top, or you can just use a smaller paper, and in that case you only need to fold it and you don't need any type of cutting involved. And as I mentioned before, you also need a palette to mix your colors up. So I would like to know if there's any questions so far around the materials that we're gonna be using. There's a little bit of a lag in the transmission, so I might wait for a few seconds to know if you have any questions so far. No questions. All right, so I'm guessing that we're good to go. That's all good. So first thing first, as I was mentioning before, I would like you to think a little bit, how would you like to paint your card? So in this case, I have, I usually for this technique, what I recommend is using what it's called analogous colors. So the colors that are closer to each other in the color wheel. So for example, either like all the blues or all the reds with violet perhaps, or with red and orange. And this is because we're gonna be working on layers, building up the color. So in this case, if we're lifting by accident any type of color underneath whenever we're painting the next layer, then that means that it's not gonna get muddy, a muddy color. It's gonna look still very bright. If you're painting, and this is good for beginners, to start with colors that are similar or alike. So in that case, if we were mixing, for example, something like one layer red and then we want to use green, because they are opposite in the color wheel, what happens is that you start creating really muddy type of colors or brown if you start lifting up the paint as you paint over. Oh, and one other material which is very important in this class is having a hairdryer, because we're gonna try to speed up the process of the painting, because otherwise the class would take very, very long. So, well, maybe not very long, but a little bit longer. And the idea is that I'm very patient and I wait, and I try not to use a hairdryer in my paintings, but because it's a live class, I thought that in that case I would use a hairdryer. And when I do, you're gonna see a transition that I'm gonna turn on the sound, so you don't have to hear the jarring sound of the yeah. So don't worry, I'll protect your ears, at least from my end. Okay, so in this case, as I was saying, analog color. In here I've been using reds and different shades of red, and for this one I've been using pretty much just the blue-green, that I've done different washes that are very light, then a medium, and then a much darker color. So as you can see also, I've done some little squares here, well, rectangles really, to write Happy Valentine's Day. And I have some other examples of other pages. I didn't even make them cards. This is just like trials to see different colors. So here as well you can see like yellow, orange, that type of thing. You can add the text at the bottom or on top or in the middle, whatever you like. So it's just for you to try to start thinking, how would you like your card to look like, and which are the colors that you would like to use. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're gonna be doing some cutting. So when you're folding your paper to do a card, remember to leave the part that is meant to use the paint over outside, right? Because this is where we're gonna be painting. When you're folding the card, just make sure that all the points are joining together, and then you start just folding the card like this, and on the other side. As I said before, it depends on the type of card that you want to do. In this case, I'm just gonna follow suit with the ones that I was showing you before. So one of them opens to the side and it's like a horizontal type of look, and this one, instead of opening to the side, it opens up to just make it a little bit different. It doesn't mean that you need to do exactly the same. So if you want to do a normal card, you can either make a full card, like total A4, like super big card, or you can cut this in the middle and then fold it normally, or as I was mentioning before, using an A5 instead of an A4, and then you fold it straight away. But in this case, I want to create a couple of cards. So we are gonna try to find now the middle of the card and cut it in halves. So we do a little mark in the middle on each side, and we trace a very soft line so that when you cut it, you don't necessarily need to see it, right? And here, just being very careful, we're gonna be cutting with the DIY knife. I need more coffee this afternoon, apparently. More strength. Good. And in this case, this one has a little bit of the glue that they use to stick it together when it comes in a block. So I'm just gonna cut that off as well very quickly. Okay, and cutting knife is gone. We don't need that more in the table. And here we have the first cards. If you are new to this technique and you just want to try how it works, perhaps start just with a piece of paper instead of the full card, and then move on to the card once you feel that you're comfortable with the technique. Okay, I'm just gonna clear a little bit some things that we don't need at this stage. All right, and when it comes to the cards, now we're gonna be using the washi tape. So in this case, the washi tape works this way. We're just gonna stick it on the paper. I usually try to use half and half, so half the paper and half on the surface. So I'm just gonna measure a little bit with my hands and then stick it on it. Try to not stick it like this or like that, you know, trying to follow a straight line as possible. If it's less than half, it's also okay. Don't need to be super exact. The idea though is that it gets very stick to the paper. And this is the card that I'm gonna be painting facing up, right? Then we do the same on each one of the borders. There we go, and we're missing only one more for this card. Okay, so this will be the first card. As I was mentioning before, the idea is that you start thinking about how would you like your card to look like. So this means first, the colors that you want to use, and second, where would you like to place text if you wanted to place text in the card, because it could also be something like that it doesn't require any text. So if you want to put any type of text, I'm gonna show you how to do that now with this one. So I usually stick, I find this mats very useful because I can stick something there and it gives me a rough measurement, in this case centimeters, which are the ones that I use. And I was lying, we do need the DIY cutting knife again. So I'm just gonna go and say, okay, I'm gonna cut, I'm gonna write Happy Valentine's Day, very similar to this one. So I need a piece that is roughly, let's say 4 centimeters, and another one that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 for Valentine's because it's longer, and another 4 or 3. Let's just say 3 there. All right, that's the excess gone. So in this case, we're gonna grab the first one, which is the happy, for the happy word. And we're gonna stick it in the card straight away. This will create, in this one, I had the sticker after I painted the first layer, but in this case I want the square to look white. So I'm gonna do it right now. And then this is Valentine's. Wait. Valentine's and day. There we go. And this is how you're gonna be able to have some space to write Happy Valentine's Day. Sorry. Happy Valentine's Day. So that's the first one. Now, before I continue sticking the other one here to show you, I wanted to show you that I already have prepared some different type of colors for this card in particular. So as I was mentioning, we're gonna be using the same type of colors, or on the same end of the color wheel. So in this case, it's always good to have like a scrap paper. I usually do trials on paper that I'm not using anymore, and have this on hand, so then you can test how light or how dark a color is and prepare the colors accordingly. So with watercolors, if you've never painted with watercolors before, bear in mind that you mix the pigment with water. The more water you add, the more light the color will be. The less water you put into the mix, then it's less dissolved, so it's more concentrated. The pigment is, in that case, darker. So what we want to do to achieve this type of results is to have something that is very light at first. So in this case, I'm just gonna grab a little bit of the clean water because this has evaporated a little bit, so still need to dissolve it a little bit more. So in this case, this is gonna be my first color, which is very light, right? The idea is that you start preparing your colors soon, so this is why I'm showing you this. Then I'm gonna add some clean water into this bottle that it was very, like, getting very dry. And here, the concentration of color that we have, it's stronger. It has more pigment and less water. So you can see that we're working on the color. Now, cleaning my brush, grabbing some more clean water and adding a little bit of water to this other puddle that I've created as well in the past. And in this case, you can see that it's much darker. So this is what we're looking to achieve. And you could even go like another layer more. I think that we're gonna try to aim for 3 layers, but you could potentially do 4 layers if you wanted. So this is how it's looking like. And in this other case here, again, we're gonna hydrate the colors a little bit more, adding clean water to it. So in this case, we have a very pale blue-green. Then we're gonna move into a medium tone. Clean, grab a little bit more of the clean water, and then we move to a darker tone. So I hope that you can see there the difference. And meanwhile, I am pasting the other card onto the surface here. I would like you to prepare your colors, either if they're on the red tones, on the blue, it could be any other color that you like. As I mentioned before, like orange with yellow, that could be something that you do as well. Just remember to start always with the lighter color, whatever you're doing. And we're gonna keep this one close by, so whenever we need to test a color before a painting, then we do that as well. Great. So now I have this other card here, and we're gonna stick it. I'm gonna paste it to the table. And I'm gonna be showing you just 2 cards just to practice the technique, but it doesn't mean that you need to do 2. You can just do 1, or you can do multiple ones if you wish. It's all up to you. And also, I just wanted to mention that Valentine's Day usually is like this date that usually we celebrate with a significant other, with a partner or whatever. And to be honest, I think that Valentine's Day, it could be celebrated by anyone. Even if you don't have a partner or family or anything, it's a time to reflect on what love means to you and how are you giving yourself love as well. So if you don't have a partner at the moment, who cares? Well, maybe you do. I'm not, take it with a grain of salt. What I'm saying is that it's more important the love that you have for yourself than any love that you can have for anyone else, because when you start with yourself, everything else comes to place. So if you're giving love to yourself, you're more likely to be able to give love to everyone else around you. But if you're exhausted and you're not taking time for yourself, it's very difficult that to keep on giving if you're not giving yourself the love that you need. So just as a reminder that we also need a lot of self-love, and there's no reason why to feel guilty about giving yourself beautiful love, caring, tender love to yourself. Okay, and here I'm gonna be cutting the same, doing the same for the letters that we're gonna be adding. So 2, 3, 4, 6, and 3. So this is just the size that I picked, but you can do another size depending on how big or small you would like the letters to be on your card. So we have here happy, 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 Valentine's, and day. There. So just checking, is everyone okay with the process so far? Just let me know if you need some time, and we can wait a little bit longer if you need to do something or prepare your colors or anything. All right, so we're just gonna move ahead with it. So now with your pencil, what we're gonna be doing is drawing some hearts. So I'm gonna start doing the bigger the hearts that you do, the easier it's gonna be for a beginner level to work on the card and create the sense of the hearts being on top of each other. If you do too small hearts, they only look like they are not sitting on top of each other. It doesn't give you that sense. So this is a trial that I did before, but I much like this ones with bigger hearts, and it's easier to paint around them as well. So I would recommend bigger hearts if it's the first time that you're doing this. So I'm gonna go and draw hearts like this. And I'm gonna be working on both cards as I go. So here, the first thing that I drew is 1 and 2 hearts, only those 2. The other ones will come later, okay? And in this one, I'm gonna do something very similar. So heart, and it could be like a part of a heart or the whole heart. And I didn't quite like that one, so here's where the eraser comes handy, because if I'm doing all the heart shapes behind this tape, then they're not gonna be visible later. So here is to fix the hearts. So here I'm gonna do like this. There, and you can still see that it's a heart. So try to keep the pencil light. I'm putting it a little bit more pressure, hopefully that you can see what I'm doing. And now we're gonna be going straight into painting, so fun stuff. And there we go. We grab the lightest color that we have here for the red, and we go full on. We paint the whole thing. It's like a full wash that we're gonna be painting, and it's very good to try and have pre-prepped the colors, because in this case you don't run out of the color, and I did a pretty good job here. I use all the color that I've prepped. So now, usually here is where you would let it dry and sit there, right? Now I'm gonna do the same. I'm just gonna move this without on the other card. And I'm trying to work very quickly while painting this card. There we go. There we go. That's the first layer, and it's the quickest and easiest one to do. So now what I'm gonna do is just to change a little bit the transition into something that you won't hear, because I'm gonna be using the blow dryer to do this part, okay? All right, we're back. So now that it's fairly dry, there's still some spots here and there that they are not completely dry, but just for the sake of the class, we're gonna continue. So in this case, now we are gonna start painting the second layer. The second layer is gonna go around the hearts, so we're not gonna touch anything that's inside of any of the hearts. We're just gonna go and paint everything around them. So for that, you need a little bit of dedication and patience. Just go around the shapes without going inside. And for this is why it's so important that the first layer is dry before you start, because otherwise it's gonna start bleeding into the other hearts that you have there as a base. So now we're gonna be using the second shade of red-ish, so it's this one, right? And let me just grab a little bit of coffee. Okay, so we are moving around the hearts. I recommend going around the hearts first, and then it's much easier to paint any other part of the surface like this, right? Before the watercolor dries. That's the challenge here. So here again we go around the heart and we move the watercolor across before it dries. This is why it's much easier if you are working with bigger hearts. There we go. And here just be careful if you have any little parts of the heart, and we are moving quickly now towards the bottom of it. And here again, going around the hearts. With watercolors, the idea is to try to keep the humidity of the paddle, so when you're moving the color it doesn't dry and give you like funky effects, unless you want funky effects to happen anyways. There we go. So this will be the second layer, and you can see now that we started like, okay, having some hearts there. All right, now we're gonna move towards the next card while this one starts drying. And this is the same, right? We go around the hearts as quick as we can, but with precision. Sometimes I feel like you need to stop breathing for a little bit, or talking in this case. There we go. And here we have it. The second layer for the first, for the second cut, sorry. There we go. And now we're going again into drying mode. So All right, so we're back. And now using the using the pencil, we're gonna draw again a couple of hearts, just similar to this ones, right? So in this case, when we are drawing the hearts, they're gonna go always behind the hearts that are already there. So in this case here, I'm gonna do one here, kind of like a part of the heart, and then pretending that it goes this way, coming here and following around this area here, like that. There, something like this. And we're gonna do this other one here as well. Remember to follow the path, thinking that it's going behind the light hearts that you have here already. And we're gonna be doing the same now for this one. Something like that, and another one here. There. Is that like a wonky type of heart here? So I'm just gonna fix that a little bit with the eraser. There. Hope you can see it. Okay, so now following the same type of technique, we are gonna use now the color that is the darkest. So in this case, I think that this was the one. I just want to make sure that I have the right one, and maybe not this one. Okay, so this is the darkest one that I've prepared, and we're gonna start painting again, just now making sure that you're not going into the hearts that you've just created in the light hearts either. So it's only following the bits that everything that you've drawn, making sure that you're not painting that. And I think that we're gonna leave it with this last layer just to demonstrate. You can keep on painting if you want and do another layer with more hearts, but it's pretty much the same process that you do. Oh, and here oh, maybe there. I'm gonna paint this one here. And we're just missing this part on this side. Yeah, I feel like not breathing at this point. Ay, ay, ay. of course, if you're at home and you have the time, I would recommend you to try and wait and be patient instead of using the hair dryer. The hair dryer sometimes causes funky effects or splashes where you didn't intend them to be, like the ones that you're gonna see once I remove the tape. So it's just as an idea that perhaps you want to try to avoid that. In here I missed a line, so there we go. So here you can see that this is the other layer, and the idea is that the hearts are providing more depth now. We're gonna let it dry and we're gonna continue with the other card with the darkest blue-green color. And we do the same. We go around, and this one, actually I think that it needs a little bit more green, so I'm just gonna make it a little bit more concentrated. Just don't drop the the paintbrush, as I almost did. Okay, so painting here, avoiding all the hearts and just painting the borders and the background. Once you finish your cards, I would love to see how they end up looking. So make sure that if you haven't already, you're following my Facebook page, and then you can, I'm gonna make a post there so you can share your pictures and your cards, so we can all celebrate love together. All right, so here we're just doing the darkest layer and the final one. And just remember to go around the hearts, just painting the background but not the hearts themselves as you go through this process, so you are giving it more depth to your painting and your card in this case. Then the hearts, they look like they're on top of each other and covering some of them. All right, and we're getting there to the end of it. Perfect. Well, maybe not perfect, but good enough, let's say. I'm just trying to go quicker for the class. So now I'm just gonna put the sound off to do again some drying in the middle, so we can just move on to the last bit of the card so you can see how they're gonna end up looking. So bear with me, we'll be right back with All right, so now they're fairly dry. They're not completely dry, but fairly dry. You can go ahead and do another layer if you wanted, but just to keep it short for the class, I'm just gonna keep it at this level. But if you wanted to do another layer, you can see in this card here that I've added, and it's following the same process that we've done before. So if you're just joining now, I would recommend you to, after the live class finishes, that you go back and look at the whole process. So the idea here is that you do another shape with hearts on the background, and then do another dark layer only covering the background and not painting on top of any of the hearts that are already there. And another suggestion that I've said before is that if you have the time, I would really highly recommend to not use the hairdryer and take the time and be patient and wait until each one of the layers have dried before continuing in the process. So now what I'm gonna be doing is just taking all the washi paper out off. Just be really careful, because sometimes they stick very well to the watercolor paper and that could cause a rip, and we really want to try to avoid that. So we're gonna go easy on it. And if you're struggling to get the washi paper out and it's starting to rip your paper, you can actually use the hairdryer a little bit more on top of where the washi tape is. So in that case, it's gonna be easier to remove it. Sticky. Okay. But I've noticed that if you are patient enough, usually everything turns out right. And this is the last bit. So here you have a little frame as well for your card by using the washi tape. And now we also remove these little ones here that they have the boxes in which you can write Happy Valentine's Day. And well, here you can see some of the splashes that were made while I was drying with the hairdryer. So this is why it's better to be patient and wait. But if you're impatient, then you can use a hairdryer, and you'll add some splashes here and there at some stage. See, here started ripping. Sometimes we can just even go through the other side, but just make sure that you're not like just, it's not a band-aid. A little bit of a rip, but nothing too major. Please let me know in the chat if you have any questions, or if there's anything that you would like to comment on. Let me know if you have any plans for Valentine's Day, if you're doing a couple thing or a solo thing or something with maybe your children, who knows. We all celebrate love in so many different ways, so it would be lovely to know if you have any plans. And this one got really splashed, but hey, it looks more artistic. Hairdryer artistic. There. All right, so everything else that we might do to the card, I remember that I said that not necessarily you had to write something on them. You can just do them like this, but in this case, because we've left these little squares here, you can either go like this, for example, that the only written part that it has is just the Happy Valentine's Day. I haven't done anything else to it, but you can also decorate it a little bit more, like in this one, that you can see with pigment liners or any type of watercolor resistant pin, that I've gone through the hearts with like some stitches around the little squares as well where the text is. So that's something that you can do. Let me just have a quick look at the You have a lovely voice and awesome technique. Thank you for all the tips. Oh, thank you very much. I won't be using any hair dryer. Great. Oh, thank you so much, Seba. I'm gonna be moving on to the last bit of the class. So in this case, as I was mentioning, you have these two types. I have this pen that is actually for calligraphy, but you can also use the pigment liners that I was mentioning before, and for those you have different sizes, so it will depend on the effect that you would like to achieve with it. So in this case, I'm just gonna go with this one, and you can practice before you write on your card, or you can just go straight away and see how it works. And in this case, I'm just gonna write very similar to what I had before. There we go, and I'm just gonna try to imitate what was in this card already. So I'm just gonna go and do some little borders with little stitches, so it becomes much easier to paint or to draw once you are able to turn the card around. Oh yes, so much easier. And we're almost at the end of it. Thanks so much for tuning in today and supporting my channel. And let me know if you like the class, if you would like to see something similar in the future, or any other things that you would like to see or learn. And when you are doing any type of outline on the hearts, just remember that the lighter hearts in color are the ones that are popping up, right? The ones that are supposed to be in the first layer. So do those first, and then try to avoid, just as we did before, try to avoid covering this hearts with anything else that is not the letters that we've just done. And I'm doing stitches. You can perhaps do a different type of outline if you wish. there you have it, folks. This is the finished Happy Valentine's Day card that we painted together, and in this one I'm just gonna pretty much do something very similar. So the finished one looks like this. So I hope that you have enjoyed this class. I'm gonna switch to this camera here so I can actually say thank you everyone for participating, for being here. I'm really grateful that you were able to connect, and we have a question. What if I mess up with the colors? Is there a way to fix the paint stain it? There's a lot of different ways of fixing, but what is the paint stain that you were mentioning that might be the problem? Because they can be different type of stains, so it will be good to know, so I can answer that question a little bit better. But for example, in this one, oh, you cannot see that one. Oh yes, in this one, for example, there's some stains that they were created with the hairdryer here. I would just leave them as they are, because if you try to fix them, you're gonna create more of a problem, because you're gonna be adding more water, and then the water is gonna start going around. So it might be a little bit more complicated to fix. But the good thing about watercolors is that sometimes having some stains, it's part of the medium, because it's a little bit more unpredictable. Just like life, the watercolor can, because it uses water as a medium, it usually just moves around, right? So when it's moving around, sometimes it might create some stains here and there. Some of them can be intentional, some other ones can be accidents, but even in life, some accidents are part of your canvas and part of your life. And with watercolor, a lot of times we need to just let go of the expectation of having everything perfect or as we thought it was gonna be. So I think that in that case, just let it be. And in the process of practicing, you're gonna get always better and better at getting the watercolor. I would also suggest that you have a look at a playlist that I have in my channel in YouTube, that it goes through the different basic techniques for beginners in watercolors, and that's where I can show as well in some of the videos like how to deal with some stains that might be on the white part of the paper. So if you are, for example, painting something here and then suddenly you get a stain over here, that's quite easy to fix and to address. But if it's in something like this, it's a little bit more difficult. So yeah, I was expecting perfection, and that was kind of my question. Thank you so much. No, my pleasure. Thank you so much for participating as well and asking questions. So I hope that you've enjoyed the class and that you have a wonderful Valentine's Day and celebration. Where are you connecting from, if you would like to share? I'm from Chile. Ah, hola, hola from Chile. That's amazing. So I hope that you have a lovely Valentine's Day. I'm just gonna switch on to. Okay, so I hope that you've enjoyed the class and that you have a lovely Valentine's Day celebration, whether it's with a partner, with your children, with yourself, just spreading the love out there. So mwah. Lots of love and kisses to everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you've really enjoyed the class, and give it a like on the channel, or follow the channel if you feel that is something